All right, we are live. I hope you guys are doing well. I want to make sure that you know how much you're appreciated. I thank you guys so much for the questions that you send. They actually get me going on what it is we're going to talk about each Wednesday. And I appreciate that so much because I'm not just getting on here just to get on here. I want you to have the tools, the tips, the support. I want you to Mindset Reset Wednesday. Feel like you're resetting your mindset each week, getting back on track, or just finding yourself still on track. Confirmation, right? We need that. And so that's why I do this. And this is something that I have to work on every single day, right? I don't share all these things because I'm 100% perfect at it. I share all these things because I've had to work at it my whole life. And it's just part of it, right? Some days are really, really hard. Some days are much easier. I have dealt with anxiety. I have dealt with depression. I have dealt with ADHD. As a younger person growing up, I dealt with a lot of trauma, like all of my life. As a child, my growing up into my teens, until I ended up in foster care and I began to get the support and the help that I needed. That has taken a lifetime. And there are still things that show up in my life to this day. I still have issues, severe issues where anxiety can come up or things that shouldn't even be an issue. All of a sudden, I feel terrified and I have to work through it. And so I get on here because it also helps me, to be honest, but also because I know what it feels like to be in that space. And in the past, I didn't know what to do at all. In the past, I would think about death and dying as a solution. In the past, I thought God didn't have any time for me and that I wasn't worthy and I wasn't lovable and just a lot of negative things. And I've learned how to shift out of majority of the negative mindset. I've learned how to shift away from anxiety when it comes up, not to run away from it, but to learn what's needed, to learn how to listen to my emotions, to give my body, my life, my experience, shift my thoughts, check in on my emotions, see what my spiritual needs are, see what my physical needs are. And like I said, these are things I have to practice on every single day. And some days, like I mentioned, I practice the tools and it's like, great. And other days I'm practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing and practicing. Yes, there's a little sarcasm in there. But I say all of that. It's not as heavy as it feels. Like it feels heavy in the moments of doing it. But being able to look back at the day and go, gosh, I'm really satisfied with what I was able to do. I'm really satisfied with how I was able to move through that. Yes, sometimes it can feel exhausting, literally. But majority of the clients I work with have not been through the level of trauma that I have, or the ones who have, they are able to take the tools that they're working with their therapist, they're able to take the tools they're working with myself, and they're able to practice just as I'm able to practice. So what seems so heavy and unbearable becomes this very much bearable, right? So even though it might seem heavy now in today's day, it's not heavy like it was before, right? So it's being able to measure the progress as well. So that's super important. So I just wanted to acknowledge you, say thank you. My name is Tammy Workman-Lopez. My company is Sparks Hope. It's named after the name you guys gave it because you share how much hope working with this work gives you, working with my mind, my experience, working with somebody who's been there, who's able to come out on the other side, who actually is there every single day of her life and works through it every single day of her life. So you're not alone. And so I really appreciate you guys that you're here with me and that you're continuing to sharing this mission. So there is no one that has to feel like they are stuck with their thoughts, stuck with their emotions, stuck with their conflict, stuck in any kind of blocks personally or professionally. They never have to feel that way again because you are giving them the answers as you're sharing with them these tools, these supports, these tips. All right, cool beans. So today, what are we talking about? Well, today we're actually going to be talking about something similar, right? There are times when just doesn't feel like we're getting through life the way we want to. There's all these different crossroads that are happening, and we're just like, oh, I don't feel like I know what to do. I don't feel like I know what direction. I'm not feeling super confident. I just want to go climb in bed and get over today. And honestly, I have to tell you, there are some days, and today is one of them, where I have bits of that. And started yesterday, and I kind of did the calming, and I was fine. I slept fine. I have neck pain, so I don't really sleep fine, but I did not sleep because of too many thoughts. I was able to calm my mind and I slept fine. I still didn't feel too well rested because of the neck pain that keeps me moving and all that throughout the night. But mind-wise, I was fine. So this morning I woke up and it's back. Now, it's not like it's back and I'm not in control of it, but the thoughts are there, and there's answers to it. Like, I know what I need to do. I know I need to look at my budget. I know I need to look at how things are going. I know I have had some clients that their schedules have changed, and so things are changing for me, and I'm starting with some networking, so now I've got to change my scheduling. There's some new consults that I have. So it's not bad stress. Right. So it's important to know that there's some natural stress, and that's just, okay, these things are going to happen. You've got to figure it out. Your schedule's changing. So it's just looking at the various things that I need to take a look at, because it's going to cause changes. And then also I want to start some groups. And so that's going to create some changes there. So it's a lot of stuff that's going on in my mind at once. So I know the answer is, which I'll do later, get it all out. It's too much stuff popping up into my head at once, which is why last night when I was like, okay, we got to calm it. We'll work on it tomorrow. Today is the tomorrow that I got to work on it. So sometimes we're just able to see what's needed there. So it's important that you allow yourself to kind of check in, see what's going on, see what has you feeling stuck, see what is the crossroads you need to take a look at. Is it big? Is it little? Is there somebody that needs to help you with it? What's going on there? What's the challenge that needs to be addressed? And notice these emotions are coming up not because they just want to drive you mad, but they're coming up because there's something that needs to be taken a look at. So number one, the idea is embracing mindfulness. And you might be like, well, what does that even mean? What I just showed with you a moment ago, I was becoming very mindful to what was it that I was feeling. What was it, the feeling about? What was the topic? Oh, I got to do this, and this. This is changing, that's changing. I got to look at my schedule. I got to look at my finances. I got to, all these different things. Oh. So once those are addressed, is there anything else? Anything else going on in my body? Like today, I also have to decide whether or not I'm going to go to an event. And if I do, I need to decide in the next 10 minutes. And I pretty much have decided it. I just need to time things out correctly. So those are all happening. Now, your conscious mind can only hold about 40 to 70 units of information. Once they're filled, which as you can see, one thing has my mind going in a billion directions of things I get to do, which leads to the next and leads to the next. And that's stress. So once you get it out of your head, I probably could have been writing it while I was talking to you, that could help. Once you get it out of your head, then you can look at it out here and allow your mind to be that creative space versus bogged down. And now it's going to put that information back to the subconscious, bring new information back. So then you're just exhausted, right? So in allowing yourself to be mindful, it's being mindful of what's the emotion, what's the thought that it's tied to, what's the action that's needed to help calm them both. Now, all of this takes a lot of practice, and there are times when you might be going through that and go, I don't know, whatever, I'm just feeling overwhelmed. I can't think that through. That's okay. That's why I'm here. So I don't want you to feel like you're supposed to be able to do what I just did, because that's only mentioning to you a few things. I've got a whole slew of other things that are also on my mind that I've got to do today and this week. So I need to write it down on my list, but I also need to put it in my calendar, that's kind of where my list is. By the way, I put it in, I think about it, and then I put it into the calendar so I could see where it can fit in my today. And if it can't, where then it can fit into my today and tomorrow. So then I'm planning out my schedule so it's not overwhelming, and I'm thinking of doing things that I don't have time to do. So that helps you to become very mindful, and you're just connecting with it and embracing it. right? And the whole time, remember to breathe. Breathe with me. And do another one, but do like a yawn. All the way. Yawn it out. Do it again. Breathe it in. And then yawn it out. That stretches the tension in your jaws. It also releases any tension in your throat. It also, because you're thinking of yawning, you're breathing in deeper and you're breathing out slower. So those are real helpful. So that actually helps with the physical mindfulness. At the same exact time, you can allow yourself to be connecting to, I'm really doing a good job of taking care of myself, taking care of my mind, my body, my emotions, my spirit. Thank you. And as I say spirit, connect to whatever is your spirit, like your wiser self. That's what I'm connecting to. That's also my spirit being. I'm connecting to, okay, God, I know you're guiding me. I know this is the goals, the clients, where you want me to reach. I know you want me to start getting out more. And I know you want me to start making more phone calls. And so any phone calls, I haven't been making any phone calls. Most of my has been inbound. So now as things are shifting and I need to do more outbound, which I don't like, now it's like these emotions are coming up. So connecting to your spiritual space too, like reminding myself, Lord, these are your children and you want me to help them. That's why you're putting this on my heart. So that steps me out of that angst, right? That steps me back into, oh yeah, this is why I'm doing this. That helps you to embrace that mindfulness. So connect with those various things. We talked about breathing. We talked about writing it down. We talked about connecting mind, body, spirit, emotions. You're checking in with each one, seeing that you are in charge of them and you are guiding them. You are taking care of them. They can't do it without you. They are helpless and hopeless without you. That's why people begin to feel hopeless, because there's not that practice of taking care. Okay. Now, the other aspect we were talking about is tip number 2, embracing uncertainty as an opportunity. That is not my favorite. I have to say, allowing yourself to take a look at it like it's a challenge, allowing yourself to take a look at, this is the part I know, this is the part I'm going to practice, this is the part I know works, this is the part I know doesn't work, great. This is the part I don't know, and then be open to, okay, I'm going to step into this and I'm just going to be asking questions. How do I know this? How do I find this out? How do I step into this? And it may be finding out from other coaches. It may be finding out from therapists. It may be finding out from your clients, right? It may be finding out from sitting in nature and jotting down your own ideas. So the idea is connecting to it as a challenge, like a puzzle. I like puzzles. Or something you like that you may not like puzzles, but you might like crosswords, you're finding the word. Or you might like Jeopardy or things like that. So think of a game that you like, cards, a game where you have to think and you have to kind of work it out and you have to problem solve because it's a challenge. Think of these uncertainties as a challenge. And let me tell you, I'm not just giving you these thoughts like this is just, I have to practice this stuff. Again, on a daily, sometimes all day. Uncertainty, change, those are not my favorite, right? I'm somebody who likes certainty. I'm somebody who likes safety. I'm somebody who likes that space, right? But I'm also okay with change. I'm also okay when things have to go different. I'm also okay with, teach me what I don't know, because that helps us to grow to that next level. And I like to be reminded of myself and remind others, uncomfortable and pain is not bad, right? Again, not my favorite. I have a lot of pain in my neck, my back, my wrist, things like that. But I know that when I stretch, and this causes a lot of pain here, I have to know I'm not stretching it out of space. I'm not stretching it abnormally. I'm not hurting it. I know that. And so this pain that I'm feeling is because there's something going on in here where it's getting too tight. People are saying, well, maybe arthritis, all that stuff. When I do get a shot, I don't feel it anymore, which is funny because it's no longer swelling or anything as far as arthritis goes. Interesting, right? But anyways, so there's things that I can do that I know are healthy stretches. I just know they're healthy stretches because I've been doing them. I know what my range of motion is. But each time I do these things, you don't know it, but it's hurting, right? But I know the difference between hurting uncomfortable versus I'm hurting myself. I'm making it worse. Sometimes I don't know. So then I have to go to somebody else, right? So when I do this, that is much, much, much more painful. And so I had to have somebody who knew do it for me so I could understand how much pain was still healthy. And actually, unfortunately, quite a bit. I've got full range of motion and I can do full range of motion. So now I understand what level of pain, which almost seems like it should be hurting me, like right there, like that almost feels like like I'm re-injuring it, because I had someone show me to the space of where I'm flexible, to the space of where that thumb can stretch to. I know that that's okay. And as I do that, the pain is slowly going away. And I just want to, like, pain's gone. Well, okay, there's a little sticky wicket right there. But the pain I was feeling, it was rather excruciating. I was like my blood pressure was going up. I could feel it. It's gone. And now slowly, right? And I'm not sharing that with you to teach you how to do it. I'm sharing that with you to see, holy heck, even though that level of pain was like a 10, no kidding, not even exaggerating, knowing that that's what I can do, and soon enough, now I have more range of motion. So the same thing goes if you're doing something that you haven't done before that's superiorly uncomfortable. Like since COVID, I really haven't had to make a lot of phone calls. And so I regressed into not making phone calls. I don't like making phone calls. I have a major fear of rejection. I have a major fear of, people misinterpreting me or miscommunications, right? But I also then begin to understand, okay, there's no monster under that bed. The people that you're going to call, you're calling because you love them. You're calling because you want to let them know what you're up to and if it could help them. And so why would you not do that? Because if you don't do that, you're actually taking away from what you could be doing to help others. Now, as you guys know, I'm very transparent. I share this stuff with you not to be like, oh, look, she's struggling and I share this with you because we're not perfect. I have some clients who do this work and this stuff goes away. They don't deal with it at all anymore. I tell them, bag that up and ship it to me because I don't know if I'm ever not going to struggle with it. I don't know. I'll continue to practice and I'll continue to do the work, but I'm also grateful for it because it helps me to understand where my clients are at this moment right now. So I no longer beat myself up and think there's anything wrong with me or tell myself I can't share my stuff with you because then you're going to think I'm not the best coach or any of that negative thinking. No, I appreciate when somebody knows exactly what I'm going through and has the tools and is using it and making their life better. I want to know that. I want to meet that person. I want to work with them. So I have learned to actually share those things in more ways. So it helps you to see there is nothing wrong with you at all. It's just there's skills and tools and you can get them. That's it. And you may have certain challenges your whole life, and that's okay too. Now you might be like, no, it's not. Then we get to work on that part because that part is still upset and still resentful and still hurting because it has an incorrect expectation that you're not supposed to have fill in the blank. Believe me, I've been there. We're human. That's part of humanness, right? Okay. So the idea is we're going to be embracing the change. We're going to be changing our perspective and how we're looking at things. And we're allowing ourselves to see that it's just a challenge. Got it? Okay, good. So now number 3 is to discover your core values. Now, a lot of times people are like, I don't really understand what that means. Well, core values are things like trust, things like honesty, things like godliness, things like measurability, things like boundaries. Like I have mine written and it's simplicity, God, well-being, measured progress, and trust/safety. I didn't have a lot of safety growing up into like 15. 15 is when I got into foster care. And there was a lot of really great people, but I was still living in a mindset and have my whole life, honestly, as I look back and have been learning now the last couple of years, I have lived my life beyond fear into terror. Now, you can't tell because it did motivate me to do everything I needed to do to take care of myself. So it didn't stop me. It actually motivated me. Every time I found out I was scared of something, I pushed right into it because I didn't want it to stop me. Now, there are some things that I have struggled with. Like I mentioned, I don't like making phone calls. And, you know, a lot of people have that issue. I know mine relates back to when I was trying to use the phone as a little kid to talk to my grandma, and my mom would be listening. And anything I said, I'd get a scowl, or I'd get a look, or I'd get punished afterwards. And it just created such high anxiety and fear and sadness all at one time. Just absolute sadness, because my grandma was just my person. She was kind and loving, and she raised me until she left. I was 7 or 8, and then she was just gone because I couldn't handle the stress of being on the phone and that guilt. And we lost connection. And so there's still sadness around that. It's not sadness like I had then, because that was filled with guilt and blame and shame. Now it's just a sadness of the time, all that time I missed her. And I really would have loved to have that relationship. There's also sadness that I had a mother like that who couldn't allow a little girl to love her grandma and teach her how to be able to be okay with the fact that that little girl could have more than one relationship and not feel so insecure about it, to take it out on that little girl. So there's a sadness around that. And fast forward, there's some of that trauma that likes to hang out around phone calls. When I go to make those phone calls, I feel stressed, I feel afraid, I feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing. You know, and I've had people that are like, I can't believe you do this work. This should only be left to therapy. And I'm like, I'm not doing therapy. If it's people need trauma work or whatever, then I refer them to a therapist. This is helping them change their mindset. This is helping them to realize they're programming their mind this particular way and how to change it. But they don't understand. They don't ask questions. They don't ask what it looks like. They go from their own perspective and just judge me. And I definitely have a fear of that, because in the past, when I was younger and judged, it meant I would be punished like hell for days and days and days. So yes, I have it tied to things that I need to disconnect, which I've been working on my whole life, and I'll continue to work on it. I just want to share it with you so you can see, oh my gosh, this stuff comes up. I'm 46 and this stuff comes up. I was 7, right? 40 years later. And sometimes it may just not go away. You just get to learn how to work with it, right? And that's okay. So again, I share these stories with you so you can understand there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with me. Everything matches, right? My body responded accordingly to what was going on around me. And it has those things stored, and I've been working through them. So where now I don't want to cry my eyeballs out the way I used to, but I can feel sadness and realize it's okay. So just what I did, as you're taking a look at what's my core values, allowing yourself to take a look at what's important to you, allowing yourself to see what is my value. And you could look up on Google values, look up various values, and you could see what those words are. You could see what's value for me within family. Maybe family first, God first, family second, right? Maybe family's got to be first before work. Or maybe you're somebody like, no, God first, work next, then family. So, and neither is bad. It's just different ways of views, different flow of values. But it's important as you look at that, because then you can see what someone else's is. Somebody else might be straight out, God and family. That's it, nothing else. Whereas somebody else, because they lack that security, they want security in their finances, not God and money. And it's not because money holds so much value, it's that safety. So then we could take a look at, oh, well, if I had that safety, then would family come first? I had to work on that one myself. So it helps you to start to take a look at as you break that stuff down, and then you're helping to set boundaries with yourself and with those around you. So then you have the correct expectations, and that helps you to discover your values. And those things help you to get really clear on when any crossroads comes up, what direction to go in or what questions to ask. Make sense? All right, cool beans. So if any of this is bringing up questions or bringing up ahas or bringing up, oh yeah, I can relate to that, let me know. Write it in the comments, DM me, send me a text message. And if this is something that you're finding really helpful and you'd like to continue, I do have 4 spots available and I'd love to work with you, but we have to do a qualifying call first. So you can get on my website at sparkshope.life/book-online, or you see my information over here. You can text me and I can help you book it. The idea is we got to make sure we're a good fit. We also got to make sure that what it is that you're looking for, I'm able to offer you, and what I'm able to offer you is what it is that you're looking for. So let me know. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so the last 2 is building resilience. That's tip 4. And then number 5 is trusting your intuition. Now, again, these are things that I've had to learn. And you might be like, well, what is building resistance? What does that mean? Well, the idea is there's going to be obstacles all along the way, all along life. Now, you may have already built a lot of resilience just naturally because life has punched you in the cojones over and over again. Sometimes not your choice, other times by people you picked or choices that you made. It just happens, right? So helping yourself to be able to see as we are practicing this mindfulness, as we're practicing being able to see a challenge, right? Being able to see those obstacles and those different barriers that are coming up as challenges, as we're being able to see, I got to step into my values so I can know what's important, what's the direction I want to choose. How do I empower myself in my life? As you're doing that, then that's helping you to build that resilience. That's helping you to continue to get a growth mindset, right? There are times when we might find we're coming from fear. There might be times when we feel like we're coming from this blocked space. But the more you practice and the more you get the support and these different tools that you're able to practice, having a coach helps you to not just learn the skills, but practice the skills. So no matter what gets in your way, you jump on it, you go for it, right? And one of the things that I like to do to help others, because it's easier for me to help others make phone calls, is help others make phone calls. They make phone calls, I'm on the call with them during their session. And then we review how the call went. We review what emotions came up for them. We review where did they get stuck? Where did they start to judge themselves? So that way it helps them work through how they're doing. And the other person on the call knows they're helping them. Like, hey man, I want to practice sharing about my business. I want to practice sharing about myself, or I just want to practice making phone calls to people because I miss them. And I've got my coach here. She's helping me to do this. I know it might sound a little crazy, but do you mind? Let's just have a regular phone call. And I want to check out what's coming up for me because I get so afraid of rejection. I get so afraid of not knowing what to think or not knowing what to say. And that other person, usually, even if they don't want to, is going to say yes, because they want to, what the heck is this? What's going on here? So it allows you to be able to go through that process, sweating and all, feeling really good, feeling really supported on both sides, helping yourself to go through it. And if it's, let's say it's somebody who's not a friend, but because you're not ready to do that, then we can practice with somebody who's not a friend. So then you're practicing, okay, I'm feeling totally stupid. I don't know what to say, blah, 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 blah. But it's the person on the other end who really could care less, right? It's just either a friend of mine or somebody who, is not the friend you want to talk to, but a different kind of friend who is totally open to letting you practice. So that's what I do. That's one of the things I do, helping people get through their blocks. And why not? I've been doing it my whole life. And some of them have been huge. Just feeling comfortable to be able to talk to people has been a huge change. Being able to look at people in the eyes, being able to touch people. I've had to break through the basics, guys. So I can totally help you break through that as well as more. I've been doing this work since I'm 17, actually. I've been doing it through with at-risk populations too. So with foster care, with homeless, domestic violence, divorcees, it just, and so now when I'm working with folks, because I've gone through so much of my own severe trauma, and helped others through theirs, it's just awesome. Now, do know that if there's any diagnosis that you have or any current trauma that you're going through, you have to be referred to me by your doctor, therapist, psychiatrist, psychologist, anyone like that, to make sure that you're in a good space to be able to do the work. Otherwise, it just means you're not ready yet. It's also important to make sure that your teams, right, your medical teams are aware of one another. All right, cool beans. So then the last one is trusting your intuition. Everything I just went over with you, if you're like, yeah, I've got that, then your intuition is doing well and you're in alignment, right? That could be part of your values, trusting myself, right? Like I said, trust and safety. That's for others, that's for myself, that's with myself, the choices I make, that's the whole deal, right? So intuition, if you're just like, I don't know, what is that anyway? That lets you know that's an area you definitely want to work on. And it's not foo-foo or woo-woo or, any of these things. Your intuition is you trusting you having a thought that says, I don't know if I should do that, but it really feels right to me. And then you do it. Now, there's also this, like for myself, I went through a lot of trauma and a lot of abuse. So my intuition was really messed up. Stuff I thought was healthy wasn't. Stuff that I thought wasn't healthy was. And so it's also being able to go, well, I thought I was trusting my intuition, but that was actually a really unhealthy choice. That's when we need to help you balance out what's going on. You've got your red flags mixed up. You've got your judgment mixed up. Your intuition, what you think is your intuition, may not even be your intuition. So we've just got to check in on those things and get you back into alignment, cleaning that stuff up, getting you back into alignment. All right. Okay. So I hope that was really helpful to you. I do appreciate you guys asking questions, getting these topics, continue to do so. I will be here every week, Wednesday, 8 a.m. Eastern time. These are recorded, so you can watch the replay, and please do share. Share this information. You're here, you might think this is absolutely the norm. Everybody sees this. Nope, that's totally 100% not true. Good morning, Maria. There are so many people who do not get to see this, and they'll only get to see it if you share it. And I'm actually going to go ahead and share it right now as well. All right, you guys, you have a great week. I'm going to jump over to Clubhouse. I just realized what time it is. I do have a Clubhouse called Mindset Reset there as well. So you can look up Mindset Reset Wednesdays with myself, Brenda, and Miriam. And we just read from the book called this one, Jesus Calling. It's by Sarah Young. And we read through this and whatever the day is. So today's the 2nd. All right, you guys, consider yourselves hugged and loved, whether you like it or not. Bring it in. Big squishy hugs. You take care of you. And I will talk with you soon. Ciao for now.